Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganeshaya Namaha. This is a very powerful mantra. The word Namaha means salutation. The word Manaha means mind. When Manaha is soaked in devotion, then Na goes before Ma, then it becomes Namaha. So Manaha has to become Namaha. This is the process of the sadhana. Namaha means not mine, everything is thine. Not mine, everything is thine. That is the space in which a person should operate. Mind is like an army of thoughts, and every army should have a leader. Hence the word Ganapati means Gananam Pati, means Gananam of the army. Pati means one who is the leader. The army of thoughts called the mind has a leader, and that is called as Ganapati. And that leader of your mind is by the power of devotion. Reflect on this beautiful story. There is an Indian fable where a rat was in deep sorrow because of the fear of cat. A monk blessed the rat out of pity, turned it into a cat, but still it had fear, and now towards the dog. The monk blessed the cat and it turned into a dog. Then it began to fear the tiger. Now it was afraid of the hunter. At this point the monk gave up. He turned it into a rat again, saying, "Whatever I do is not going to be of any help because you have the heart of a rat." Our mind continues to be a rat, but when blessed with devotion, Manaha becomes Namaha. So Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om stands for silence. Gam means Gati, going towards. Ganapataye means mastery of the mind, which is mastery of life. So Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha is the inner meaning where you have to become a master of your mind, that is master of life. By chanting this powerful mantra, a mastery of life happens. Man has an organized physical body given to him. He then comes under the organization of society to which he belongs. This social organization is kept going by means of laws. Man commits a crime, the law of the country condemns him. But man has not got a logical body or a spiritual body. He has no inner organization to create a psychological or spiritual body and thereby order in his life. The role of mantras is a great aid. Mantras are powerful vibration. Vibration can be positive or negative, but mantra creates the most powerful vibration. Hence, the word mantra means mananat trayate iti mantra. By chanting it, trayate, you're protected because a powerful vibration is created. How can a mantra work? At present, an immature mind cannot understand. For example, a small child cannot understand how from a seed a tree can come, and how from a tree again fruits, and from fruits seeds, and therefore from a finite sea an infinite emerges. An immature child cannot understand this. In the same way, a primitive person cannot understand how talking to a telephone thousands of miles away another can hear very clearly. It is said that in a tribal area many years back, people used to go to a tree and talk to the tree, and the tree was a channel by which communication got transmitted to whomever they wanted. Now since we don't know how this works, it appears to be a false, it appears to be a myth. So too, a primitive person cannot understand how a telephone works, but the fact remains it works. Mantra transforms us in a mysterious way, but since we do not know, it is wrong to negate it. So, Om Gam Ganapate Namaha creates a powerful psychological spiritual body in which we attract divine forces. It is said wherever a monk lived, Even tiger and sheep used to play together because that monk used to create a divine energy. This is mentioned in one of the ancient texts. Mantra attracts divine forces by which you can overcome obstacles in life. If there is a law of gravitation, there must be a law of grace. By the power of grace, our obstacles in life can be overcome. If you closely observe life, many of our problems have been mysteriously solved, and that is the hand of the Lord. By chanting the mantra, you invoke this process in a mysterious dimension. God helps us in our own way, but we must be sensitive and not insensitive. A woman lost in a forest. Later, she was describing this to her friends. She told how she prayed with tears and cried out to God to help her. Did God answer your prayer? Her friend asked. Oh no. Before he could, an explorer appeared and showed me the way out. See, God fulfills and helps us in his own way, but we are insensitive. We want it our way. Devotion is to allow that mysterious hand to help us, and by chanting the mantra, you create a magnetic force wherein such divine hands will allow us to mysteriously help us in our daily life. But we are very impatient. We pray, we chant the mantra, we want immediate result. This impatience doesn't allow us to live life wisely. Reflect on this beautiful story. A group of men were waiting for their wives, were expecting to give birth to children. A nurse comes out and says, "Who is Mr. Ramaswamy?" And somebody gets up and she says, "Congratulations, you have become a father." Another man next to him got up and said, "This is unfair. I have been waiting here, and why this information to him and not to me?" Waiters have their own logic. Deliverers have their own logic. God blesses us in his own way. Be pure. Go on chanting the mantra. Instead of worrying, chant, and worry will become wisdom, for you will create a divine force around you. When you worship Lord Ganesha, you will find Lord Ganesha's form is a very mysterious form with a lot of symbolism. So worshipping Lord Ganesha is to introject the symbolic meaning of each part of the form which it is conveyed. So worshipping Lord Ganesha is to take those meaning and imbibe it in your life. For example, Ganesha, he has big ears and it means something. Ganesha has big ears which says, listen more and talk less. God has given us 2 ears and 1 mouth, which means listen more and talk less. I have seen many of our relationships problem is we are not good listeners. Since we are not good listeners, many of our interpersonal relationship gets tensed up. There was a guru who was giving a discourse and he told his disciple at the middle of his discourse, "Hey Ramaswamy, has it entered what I..." Instead of listening to the guru, he was looking at the top of the roof where a rat was entering into the hole. So the disciple Ramaswamy said, "Guruji, the rat has entered but the tail is still hanging." The master asks one question, the student understands yet another. So very few of us are very good listeners. So often I have seen people ask a question but they have already arrived at an answer. And their question is not a question, it is a statement, for they have already arrived at an answer and they expect me to answer the answer they have already answered. Now that is not a good way of asking question. When you ask a question, your listening should be open, you should be clear, and you should be available to all possibilities. And therefore, big ears of Ganesha says, be a good listener. Hence the Veda says, Atmavare Shrotavyam, learn to listen. We are trained to listen to lies and very few of us are trained to listen to truth. We have to train our ears to listen to truth and not to sheer lies. And therefore worshipping Ganesha, those big ears, all this meaning should get introjected into your being. As you're worshipping Ganesha, now look at the eyes. The eyes are very innocent, very pure. If you look at an elephant, the elephant may be huge, but the eyes of an elephant is small, clear and pure. Hence in yoga we say a guru looks at the eyes of the student and finds out what state of being and what state of spiritual evolution he is in. And therefore, eyes of the elephant, eyes of Lord Ganesha represents purity, represents innocence. Hence the Veda says, Chakshumati Vidya. If you start looking through the Chakshu, the eyes of innocence, true wisdom emerges. Look at a child. The child's eyes are so beautiful because it is innocent. Knowledge so often creates arrogance. Wisdom creates innocence. Reflect on this beautiful story. What is the difference between knowledge and enlightenment? Asked the student to the master. The master answered, when you have knowledge, you use a torch of words to show the way. But when you have wisdom and when you are in a torch, your presence itself becomes light. When you are innocent, it starts becoming very pure, very clear. So therefore, Ganesha's eyes, which is the eyes of an elephant, very clear, very innocent. So have innocence. By worshipping Ganesha, the innocent way of looking at life is what you have to imbibe. Now the two tusks of the elephant are very, very precious. Therefore, hunters always kill an elephant to take the tusk. Now the two tusks represents raga and dvesha, like and dislike. Our like and dislike, like ivory, are very precious. If you look into our lives, we are more interested in seeing our like and dislike survive. Very few of us are interested in seeing happiness or goodness survives. We are more interested in being right, in having our like and dislike fulfilled, not our happiness and goodness surviving. Therefore, the tusk is broken, meaning thereby the pair of like and dislike is broken. Means when you break your like and dislike, you're committed to goodness rather than committed to your point of view, which represents like and dislike. There's a beautiful story of a student goes to a master and says, "Oh master, teach me." The master says, "Take this bucket, draw water from this well and fill it in this tank." The student puts the bucket into the well and draws water. As he draws water, the water is no more there. Again he puts the bucket in the well, fills water, draws. When it comes up, it is no more there. And this continues for 2 to 3 hours. The master comes, says, "Show me the bucket," shows the bucket and says, "See, the bucket is like a mind. The holes under the bucket is like and dislike. When water is poured into the bucket, and if you have like and dislike, all the happiness disappears. So too, if your mind has like and dislike, happiness disappears. So don't invest on your like and dislike." And that is represented by the tusk which is broken. Means don't operate from sheer likes and dislikes. Operate from goodness and happiness, not from your point of view. We further look at Ganesha. He has Vibhuti, 3 lines on his head. Vibhuti represents ultimately this body is going to be burnt. Deha in Sanskrit means dahana yogyaha dehaha. Ultimately is going to be burnt. So when it is burnt, it becomes ashes. So when you are alive, you put ashes on your head, reminding yourself ultimately this body is going to be burnt. So therefore, don't invest too much on this external body. Learn to invest on the internal body, the spiritual body, which is more permanent. The external body is more impermanent, and that is the symbolism of Vibhuti. If you look at the trunk of an elephant, it can pick up a needle and pull down a huge tree, and therefore it stands for effectiveness. So too in life, we should be able to handle small things in life gracefully, handle big things also in life gracefully, and therefore it represents being effective. Lord Ganesha has 4 hands, and the 4 hands has a very symbolic meaning. In one hand he has an axe. Axe represents detachment. He says, by the axe cut cut asunder all your attachment towards life. In the Gita, the Lord says, Asanga Shastrena Dridena Chitva, with a sword of detachment, cut asunder all your attachments. If you look in life, we are suffering because of our attachment. What is attachment? Attachment means, without this, I refuse to be happy. Without this, I refuse to be happy. If you break this attachment, your life will be free. And therefore, one hand represents an axe which says, cut away your attachments towards life. But you can still care, but not be attached. The other hand, Lord Ganesha has a rope. Rope means, by love, he is trying to pull us towards godliness. God's love is shown to us in different and mysterious way. Invariably, I find when there's lot of difficulties, we think of God more. So the Lord's ways to teach us so often is through difficulty. So difficulty is not to create chaos in us, but is to create cosmos. I always say, when God gives us problems, it is to humble us and not to tumble us. And therefore the hand which has rope means, by love he is drawing us towards him, which can be through difficulty. It can be through many ways. Be sensitive and open towards that. The other hand represents Abhaya Mudra, which means live a fearless life. Learn to trust in existence and live a fearless life. And when you do this, the fourth hand has a sweet, a modaka. Modaka means, if you live a spiritual life with all the symbolism of Lord Ganesha, you will experience sweetness in life. And when you experience sweetness in life, you will find your life to be like a modaka, very sweet and joyous. Reflect on this beautiful story. A woman dreamt that she went into a very beautiful shop where very new things were sold, and to her surprise, she found God was behind the counter. What do you sell here? She asked. Everything your mind wishes, answered the Lord. She couldn't believe this was true, and therefore the woman decided to ask the best things a human being could ever wish. And therefore she said, I want peace, I want love, I want happiness, and I want freedom from fear, freedom from anger, jealousy, hatred. And not only I want, but I want everyone to have this. To which the Lord smiled and said, I think you have got me wrong, my dear. He said, we don't sell fruits, we only sell seeds. Reflect on this story. God gives us seeds and not fruits. If you live a wise life, all the good qualities you will sow, and when you sow good qualities, the fruits are bound to happen. If you want a mango fruit, sow a mango seed. This is called the law of seed. As you sow, so you reap. So the modaka, the sweetness, is the result. But you have to sow wise things in your life, and then you will find your life is going to be beautiful. If you further look into the idol of Ganesha, the very idol of Ganesha is a very new idea. Half the body is elephant, half the body is human. The very idea is new, and therefore Ganesha stands for creativity. All creativity is generating new ideas. So therefore, can you generate new ideas and be creative in your life? Also, if you further look into Ganesha, under Ganesha there is a rat, and rat has a very symbolic meaning. Rat represents desire. Desire is a problem if desire is the master of you. Desire is not a problem if you are a master of desire. So under Ganesha, they are fruits, and there is a rat looking at Ganesha, meaning thereby the desire is waiting for the instruction of the master. And when you become a master of desire, and the fruits represents the world, then you will find that desire becomes a vahana, a vehicle for you to go through. And therefore the vehicle for Lord Ganesha is a rat, meaning thereby rat is a desire. You have to be a master of desire. Whenever you worship Lord Ganesha, you always break a coconut. And breaking a coconut is very, very symbolic. Why? Because coconut represents ego. How ego is hard to be broken, so too coconut is also hard to be broken. But when you break the coconut, the external may be rough, but internal is sweet water. When you break your ego, the sweet water of joy or happiness you will take. And therefore every time ego is broken, it means drink the sweet water of joy. At the altar of Ganesha, break your ego. If you closely observe, ego always is restless. Why ego is restless? Because it has not learned the art of being centered. There is a beautiful expression in mysticism which says the law of pendulum. The law of pendulum shows when pendulum goes to the right side, it comes to the left side. When it goes to the left side, it goes to the right side. So when there is success, we have a fear of failure. And when there is fear of failure, there is a greed to success. Our life is from success to failure. But in success to failure, like a pendulum, if you are centered, then when there is success, you will not be arrogant of success, neither there is a fear of failure. When the pendulum of your life goes to failure, you will not be a victim of failure, neither a greed for success. And when that happens, you will not be carried away by the pendulum of life which can give you success or failure. But if you are centered, then the greed of success, the fear of failure, the arrogance of success, the victim of being a failure, all drops away if you are centered. And to be centered is to be in a state of egolessness. And therefore breaking the ego means breaking the kind of swings of life and you being centered. So every time you worship Ganesha, take all the symbolic meanings that I have mentioned and introject that into your life. And therefore Ganesha's qualities should exist in you. That is one aspect of meditation. Go on chanting the mantra, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, Om Gam Ganeshaya Namaha, and therefore convert your worrying mind into a silent mind, because mantra creates positive vibration. Now how should you go about practicing this meditation? Sit down in a comfortable position, remain in a quiet place and chant the mantra, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Chant the mantra. While chanting the mantra, let your focus be on the Mooladhara Chakra. Mooladhara Chakra is the center where your spinal column starts. Now that is supposed to be the seat for Kundalini. Now that is supposed to be the sex center. And therefore our tradition says that Ojas has to become Tejas. Your sex center has to become a sacred center. Therefore on Mooladhara Chakra, chanting Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, Om Gam Ganeshaya Namaha, by chanting the mantra, each time feel that center is being activated, and therefore when it is activated, Kundalini starts rising. Represents the Kundalini in the form of a white light, and therefore each time you chant, feel the white light of energy is being activated and thus spreading all around. Go on chanting with devotion, for a mantra is like a seed. Now with this energy spread around, pervading your whole being, now just see that white light focused on your diseased portion of your body and feel mysteriously that energy is healing you, healing you, healing you. Then finally continue chanting the mantra, and as you chant the mantra, remember, when you chant the mantra, feel the words, feel the rhythm or the music of the mantra. Third, feel the silence. And therefore in silence, truth is ultimately discovered. So go on chanting at the last stage, just feeling the silence of the mantra, the music of the mantra, the word of the mantra, and finally the silence of the mantra. And then stop the chanting, go deep in silence. And then afterwards start living your life, having all the qualities of Ganesha. Whenever you're free, chant the mantra. Let the mantra really bless you. May God bless you all.